Every year, Nigeria generates millions of tons of plastic waste, with PET bottles making up a huge share. They clog our drains, choke our waterways, pollute farmlands, and threaten both human health and marine life.
Waste generation has become more or less a cancer, and authorities have been working around the clock to see how these issues can be addressed.
The scale of the problem is urgent, and the cost to our environment is undeniable. But closing the loop is possible, and that's why the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, FBRA, stepped in, creating a system to recover, recycle, and give new life to plastic waste, turning what was once waste into opportunity.
Now, narrowing it down to the plastic waste, plastic pollution, it was so serious that a lot of stakeholders had to sit down together globally to see how this problem can be addressed under United Nations Environment Program, that is UNEP, and a lot of agreements, protocols, or treaties have been signed, which Nigeria is a signatory. And now, one of the major initiatives in line with the treaties and agreement that was signed is to come up with this extended producer responsibility initiative.
We were thinking of a solution to post-consumer packaging waste in Nigeria. And it was extremely difficult. We made attempts to partner with several organizations to drive recycling. But we were not making significant progress. And then I think around 2014, the federal government came up with the EPR policy, Extended Producer Responsibility Policy. And I think 2 years or thereabout after, the regulations guiding the operation of the policy came into place, which made it possible for sectors to form producer responsibility organizations. I think that was when FBRA came into existence in 2018.
Conversations started at about the year 2012, where there was a need to start solving that issue of packaging in the environment, especially issues like plastic pollution. So that conversation with the manufacturers, the government agencies, now culminated into setting up a producer responsibility organization, which happened finally in 2018, where FBRA was registered as a non-for-profit organization, limited by guaranteed, but pioneered by 4 founding members, which are multinationals operating in Nigeria. They came together to take that lead and take that charge to set up the PRO to ensure that the environmental stewardship is addressed.
The Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance was established to support the environmental aspirations of industry stakeholders for responsible packaging waste management. The alliance was inaugurated by 4 organizations: Nestle, Nigerian Breweries, 7-Up Bottling Company, and Nigerian Bottling Company in 2018. And it has evolved to now include 47 reputable member companies from different streams.
We're active in supporting the agenda of FBRA as a result of the EPR policy that was put out by Nestle. That in the process of trying to meet the policy, we as a company have actually fallen in love with responsible management of waste, and we have fallen in love with the circular economy, and we've become champions in the circular economy. We also want to be strategic facilitators. We want to be enablers. We want to be advocates. We want to play a role in policy formation. And this is part of the love story that I'm talking about with responsible waste management. We've done all of this through FBRA, and we couldn't have done it without FBRA. I wouldn't have wanted to do it without FBRA, because FBRA is a collaborative effort.
There's a common saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, if you are interested in the long term, in the sustainability of an issue, then you need to go as a group. And so naturally, it makes sense that different organizations come together to put their resources together to be able to address issues. Recycling is a very expensive venture. So if companies are making individual efforts, it will be difficult to move the needle, especially against the backdrop of where we were when FBRA came into operation. That plastic pollution was a big issue in the society. I mean, with the coming of FBRA, and all that has been done within the value chain, we are beginning to see significant progress. We are beginning to see value in the post-consumer waste, so much so that you hardly see it anywhere in the environment. So when competition comes together under a PRO, it's easier for them to address this issue. It's easier for them to put their resources together to achieve significant progress.
Each producer, all right, including Nestle, we have an objective when it comes to the percentage of the packaging waste that we put out and that we remove from the environment. And that's what we focus on when we talk about neutrality. So we want to ensure that we're taking out of the environment on a 1 ton in, 1 ton basis of our plastic waste, starting from that. So with FBRA, like I said, in 2018, working together with all the other members of the FBRA to create an environment that enabled the acceleration of this collection. That's a win for me as a producer. That's a win. Because alone, I might not have been able to create that environment. Yes, of course, we're doing work with different partners trying to collect, but the combined force of the members of the FBRA helped us to accelerate that.
Before we joined FBRA in 2021, we were already working on increasing consumer awareness with regards to used beverage carton, doing educational programs in schools, in community to boost awareness and to inform the general public that used beverage carton do have a second life. And so when FBRA came on board, it was only natural that we become part of the alliance. And together with FBRA, we have achieved significant milestones.
We compete commercially, but we don't compete in responsibility. Responsibility is a common interest among all FBRA members. It's a common interest among all corporate citizens. It benefits us to be responsible collectively because we can do better together. So in all those areas of commonality that we had, we're more than happy to collaborate because we get better results that way. And indeed, we've had really fantastic results. I think so far, collectively working together with FBRA, we've been able to collect at least 85,000 metric tons of post-consumer waste since inception. And this is a number and we're counting. It's gonna get better and better as we become stronger and stronger in the collection effort.
The waste management sector in Nigeria and in most African countries is very informal. And if you look at what happens in the terrain, a lot of people are working in silos. So the coming on board of FBRA was able to formalize and organize the ecosystem, also to facilitate the activities that were already happening. But how do you ensure that it is done in a structured way?
And so we started by focusing on collection, because we were thinking about transforming our plastic waste or even transforming our packaging, to use more recycled content. But we needed to start by growing a critical mass of the raw material, which will go into this recycled plastics production. And so we started from collection and we started to build an ecosystem. So I think that the first win for us was, having that collective force that helped to accelerate collection within the Nigerian environment. So, it was very unstructured, very informal, and, FBRA started to build a structure around the collectors because I said, if you're going to be working with us as FBRA, if you're going to be giving us your collection, then you have to be regularized, you have to register, we needed to know traceability and all of that. We started to put a structure around that.
The small-scale collectors that we have worked with from inception, that were monthly, that had a monthly tonnage of maybe 20 tons, today they are doing over 200 tons per month. That means they've been able to scale up because we have also funded them through subsidies, through initiative, through infrastructure to be able to move to the next level. And what that has done is they are able to provide more input into the next part of the value chain because it's a circle. And for us to be able to close that loop, we are able to ensure that there is demand for more feedstock and more material.
Some people may not know FBRA as a PRO, but I also don't think they can deny the impact of FBRA, especially if they look around the environment. I remember in the early days of FBRA, when we started opening up the value chain and the ecosystem, there was a time that aluminum, like the cans in the food and beverage, the cans were gold. However, there was no value placed on plastics. And then you could see plastics litter everywhere. Now, with FBRA coming together to galvanize progress in the value chain, investors started coming in, especially those recyclers that were going bottle to bottle. All right? And so that has changed the ecosystem and added value to plastic itself. So much so that plastic today is gold. In fact, I think one of the challenges that recyclers have today is access to feedstock. You see many companies from Asia flooding into Nigeria to tap into the opportunity that is provided within the ecosystem. FBRA has also made a lot of impact in terms of scaling recycling. I remember in the early days, it was extremely difficult because of the cost and logistics, to drive scale in terms of collection, because you need to collect before you recycle. But today, FBRA boasts of having recovered thousands upon thousands of tons of plastics from the environment, which are recycled as well. Okay? So FBRA has again, elevated the impact which can be felt in the environment.
And now the second one was, in creating a policy environment that would enable what we wanted to achieve as businesses. And, working with the government, both to ideate around the policies and what they should look like to support businesses. That was a second win. Now, the third win for us really is that today we are 47 members from 4 members, and that means that we are delivering value, and that value can be seen. The visibility is there. The value is there. All the work that we've been doing with the waste management authorities in the different states, be it Loma or Guama or those in Delta State or across the nation, the work that we've been doing has been very visible, and that is what I believe has attracted the 47 members that we have within the FBRA today.
Any country that will not align with a circular economy model is going to be left behind. Going is the era of linear economy, where all you do is just to use and then throw away the waste. Now we know better. We know that with circular economy, you are able to make your business more sustainable. You're able to guide against waste, reduce waste. You are able to reduce resource depletion. You are able to achieve your climate goals. Like in Prophetic here, we talk about measurement of our carbon footprint and all that. So all these ones are some advantages that we get from circular economy.
Every modern and responsible company at this stage in the world's trajectory knows that they have to have a triple bottom line: people, profit, and planet. So for us, being very committed and dedicated to extended producer responsibility is part of our business objectives. So I'm often asked the question, how do we balance our business objectives with extended producer responsibility? And our answer is always that extended producer responsibility is one of our business objectives. I mean, that's the only way you can be sustainable. That's the only way you can show respect for the environment in which you operate and in which you make profit.
It's about business, and business is about making profit and doing business, but it's about doing business sustainably. So the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance is actually an aggregation of the desires or the commitments of these business entities to do business sustainably, knowing that if you do business sustainably, you have more opportunity to be around for the next 120, 50, many years in the future. But if we're not doing business sustainably, then I don't think that we're even going to have the raw materials that we need to continue producing in the long term. So what's the balance here? Yes, we're protecting the environment. We do that knowing that it's a good thing to do, of course. But there is also the business sense in doing it. Because when you're doing business more sustainably, you're using materials that are good for your business, good for the environment. Yes, sometimes when you're developing it, it might seem that it's difficult. But in the long term, it actually saves you money because you're doing business sustainably. That's why the FBRA is really, really critical for our business interests, and it is good for the environment as well.
As more organizations embrace the circular economy, a new kind of collaboration is taking shape, one where sustainability fuels both profit and purpose. At the heart of this movement, FBRA continues to build the connections that make it work, linking collectors, recyclers, and producers to create a truly circular system.
Linkages is one aspect that's also very, very critical to us because, I mean, it's a cycle, and then if one part of that cycle is not doing well, it affects the entire cycle. So one of the critical things that we also do is to ensure linkages from collectors to recyclers and even the producers. For example, across the value chain, we try to work with collectors. We try to link them with recyclers who can actually offtake the materials from them. And these recyclers also, we try to actually connect them with producers who are willing to actually put the recycled content into their packaging. When we talk about circular economy, it means that we're not actually closing the loop if each actor within that cycle is not properly taken care of, is not properly linked with the next actor within the value chain.
FBRA is doing a lot of awareness when it comes to the producers of the plastic, because as a three-party have to be involved in any recycling. That's why you have a recycling triangle. You have to have the collection done right, you have to have the recycling done right, and you have to have the producers doing their part as well. And this is, I believe, FBRA has been the avenue where we all contribute, trying to improve. And if you look what FBRA started back 7 years ago, what was the volume being collected, and what is the volume being collected right now as a whole organization, is a lot. And that's quite interesting and commendable for the management of FBRA.
I think what FBRA has been able to do, among other things, to help us achieve sustainability is providing the platform, expertise where it is required. I say this because we operate in a segment of the market, the industry, where our packaging material, do not have so many biodegradable alternatives. But does that mean that we not run things sustainably? No. Where truly there are biodegradable alternatives that can encourage sustainability, we're able to take expertise from FBRA. I remember recently we talked of a particular company introducing an advanced recycling technology for flexible laminates, which is one of the challenges that we have had over the years. So before now, the limits of mechanical recycling was a problem to us. But through FBRA, we were introduced to a particular company that is coming up with an innovation around advanced chemical recycling, which allow you to have a limitless recycling cycles for your packaging material, which also allow you to have an output that is a food contact material?
No, FBRA, I've heard of them ever since they've been around. I think FBRA is a noble achievement, I feel, in terms of for the stakeholders to rally around a cause on sustainability, because it's not a hidden fact. There is a problem, and it in a proactive manner, FBRA's mandate and purpose has been extremely effective, and I feel it is allowed people like us to play a complementary role to support their initiatives.
About 3-4 years after joining, we realized it was a very, very good decision for us to have joined FBRA, because it has actually impacted our business massively in a positive way. I can't just imagine what would have happened to companies like Polismatch, for example, if there was no companies like FBRA. They encourage their members to use RPET. They encourage their members to recycle. They have encouraged collectors to collect. So without, and it's not a government organization, it's not a governmental organization, they've done massively well in the last 7 years. But of course, the reward for hard work is actually more work.
One of the major contributions of FBRA for me is awareness. So FBRA has done a lot of awareness for the population. Everybody knows now about recycling. Everybody knows about PET recycling. And this is a big role that FBRA has played for us.
So far, with Aleph being part of this great body, it has extended our own brand name as well to become a household name. Even though Aleph has been known, but it's enhanced Aleph to be further known by other organizations as well, because they kept on mentioning the name Aleph as a partner when it comes to food grade recycled products. And not just that, FBRA has helped Aleph in linking us with those with our feedstock. For example, since the FBRA is an extended producer responsible body, they have been able to be a bridge between those who are producing the waste and we who are into the recycling of the recycled plastic bottles.
FBRA supports our business and help us to scale, because the subsidy we receive from them helps us to increase on the amount of materials we buy, and this has actually helped us to scale, and directly or indirectly has also helped us to help others, because of course as the business keeps growing, we have to employ more people, and it has helped to provide more jobs. It has also help us expand into what we have here today. Production-wise, it has tripled, and financially, it has improved our revenue.
The supportive idea of FBRA has made, and the subsidy initiative has made the collection be like 10 or 5 times what it used to be. And now we're a company that produce flexible. We produce nylon, and from where we are coming from compared to where we are now, it has been a wonderful journey with the help of FBRA.
Currently, we have 3 functional RPET facilities in Nigeria. They are able to get more feedstock, and not just more feedstock, they're able to get clean feedstock, because that's what they need to be able to put that back into production, to meet up with the standard, not just the approved standard organization of Nigeria, RPET standard in Nigeria, but global standard, to be able to ensure that the food safety is not compromised of the products we put out in the market. These producers are able to buy back these RPETs, pellets, or preforms that are going to be used back into production. The setup of FBRA has also been able to attract investors in the space, because when you look at the people that are in the background of FBRA, There are renowned multinationals that have been able to put their efforts collectively. Though they are competitors in the market, but when it comes to FBRA, they move as collaborators to ensure that the system works. And over time, they've been able to facilitate the ecosystem, to give that validity to what we're doing through various initiatives, various programs that has also been able to help to enable the ecosystem to what we have today, 7 years later.
Look at also the investment that value chain has attracted in the last 7 years. It's been phenomenal. You know, job opportunities created, economic opportunities created. So I can go on and on and on. So that's why I said that people who don't know the name of FBRA cannot deny the impact, because it's all over the place. We have a cleaner environment as we speak today. Lagos, as we knew before, whenever it rains or everywhere is full of plastic, you hardly see that. So these are some of the impacts that FBRA has made, not to even talk of the alliances that FBRA has built with multilateral agencies. You know, deepening research in the ecosystem, understanding what is material and where. I mean, such collaborations with GPAP, UNIDO, and the likes of them. Without FBRA, all of those things wouldn't have happened. So you see FBRA being, you know, part of committees, even in government today, which also is indicative of the impact that FBRA has created in Nigeria as a PRO.
Over the years, FBRA's impact has gone beyond numbers and investments. It has reshaped how waste is managed across industries, inspiring collaboration and driving innovation within Nigeria's recycling ecosystem.
Initially, when FBRA started, we're very focused on PET packaging, and this was because the 4 founding members, the major packaging was PET material. But over time, when we started having a vast membership across other packaging waste streams, such as the used beverage cartons, glass, the used beverage cans, the used beverage cartons, we've expanded to actually collect different packaging materials. Right now, we collect across 9 different waste streams. So, and it's been impressive to see the growth over the years with reference to these waste streams. For example, when we started supporting the collection of the flexible packaging material, annually we were doing just above 500,000. And as of last year, we're able to support almost a total of 12 million metric tons of flexible packaging material. So this has shown that we are very, very interested in not just the packaging materials that are sellable when it comes to public perception, but also even the hard to recycle packaging material.
My name is Larry Onobaju. I'm the production manager of Oliver Adam. We have different processing when we are doing our board, because this thing, as you are seeing it, we have nylon, plastic, and paper. So all end up in a certain thing. This is Unilever product. At times we do our collection to people that gather all these things. We also have kind of relationship with Unilever, whereby we can go and pack their waste. The paper also being given to us by Chivita, which is the product of Tetra Pak. So we used to use both the paper, the plastic together to form something. Most times when we run into kind of a ditch, when we turn to FBRA, they come to our rescue. and they've been supportive measure all this while.
When I joined the Alliance, one of the major assignments I had was to ensure the recovery of over 150 metric tons monthly. It seemed like an impossible task at that time. And today we are talking about 100,000 metric tons since inception. And of course, on a monthly basis, we do over 1,000 metric tons. But what that also means, not just in numbers, just imagine the businesses that have been enhanced through those recyclables that have been recovered. Just imagine the jobs that have been created through those 100,000 metric tons. Imagine the contribution of the returns on that investment of collecting over 100,000 is a lot. So if you look at the environmental, social impact of those 100,000 metric tons, that would have been in the environment, would have been in our gutters, would have been in our waterways, it would have really caused a problem in Nigeria as a whole.
You have to think about the volume of 100,000 metric tons of waste removed from the environment that could have been in the environment. So you look at that in terms of how many families were fed through that process. How many families were able to send their children to school within that ecosystem because of that collection. How many families today are able to provide health care for their families because of that ecosystem? That's when it begins to bring home the fact that it's not just about the waste that is collected, it's about the opportunities lie within that ecosystem. And the more we accelerate, the more we collect, the more livelihoods, the more employment, the more good we're able to do through that process.
Supporting the collection of over 100,000 metric tons of waste is huge. And this not only translates to, the figures, it also translates to some other aspects when we look at it. When we talk about the environmental aspect, that would have been waste that would have ended up in our waterways, that would have resulted in flooding. Those are waste that would have been piled up on our dump sites. When it comes to the economic value of that number, it just shows that businesses have been supported to actually collect that quantity of packaging waste. Currently we've worked with over 60 collection partners all across Nigeria, and we've supported these businesses in one way or the other.
But we've been able to do that, and we're not stopping at 100,000. We are still striving to do more because there's a lot of work out there. But one of the critical things we have seen over time is that the environment is not as dirty as it was 7 years ago. And we have also seen that the consciousness, the awareness of responsible disposal has been heightened over time. A lot of people now know what we are talking about when we talk about recycling. You hear it on social media, on traditional media. You even see seminars that are focused on it. This was not happening a lot some years ago.
100,000 tons of plastic waste already collected, right? I think that's a lot, looking at where we started. I'm impressed. I've also seen some behind-the-scene activities from FBRA. I'm aware that they were having conversation with a whole lot of state governments in collaboration and all that. I also know that in the area where we operate, flexible laminates and all that, there was a time we were making a whole lot of noise around, no, you're not collecting enough flexibles and all that. So what did FBRA do? They put more incentive on the flexible laminate collection. And today, when the monthly collection report is brought, you go and look at the flexible and then it's going high. Use beverage carton and all that. So I would just encourage FBRA to keep doing a great job. A big thank you to Arise, the executive director, for our relentless effort. I'm very confident that, we can even do much more in a smaller space of time than we have done in the past. So maybe I will also use that opportunity to also talk to other companies out there who are yet to really be part of FBRA. There's no any excuse for any company not to join. It's more expensive to wanting to do recovery on your own because when the ban really take effect around now, what the government is going to ask you is to demonstrate effort toward the recovery of your packaging material, and it's going to be very difficult. Coming under the umbrella of FBRA, I think we can do a lot more. So we wish FBRA more strength, and we hope that in the coming days we can do much more than what we have done today.
Once again, is to congratulate FBRA and to let them know that we should keep reminding ourselves that we don't have any other planet except this present planet that we are dwelling in. Continuous stakeholders engagement is key. So I advise that they should sustain that, or they should continue doing that. And then as I talked about capacity building program, sensitization to all these operators, very important. I talked about expanding tapping into other waste streams. It's also important. Then again, their FBRA activities shouldn't just be focused within Lagos State or within Southwest Nigeria. They should think of other regions as well. Just be rest assured of the agency's support at all times. On behalf of my Director General, CEO, Professor Innocent Barite Bariko, I want to assure you of our support to FBRA at all times to ensure that our goal is achieved.
In the next 3 to 5 years, I would like to see the FBRA become the leading authority and reference point for circular economy in Nigeria, protect the environment, empower communities, educate and transform consumer behavior, and be the trusted partner for public sector in shaping policies.
So FBRA at 7, super job done. Great job on getting such senior leadership in private sector to sit and debate an issue which many people would not prioritize. So I think great job, good governance. And my message would be, please continue the good work and let us really make an impact to take the infrastructure we've all built over the last few years, to keep it here, keep it local, and let's develop a good domestic takeoff industry. So we're not depending on outside, we're not depending on Donald Trump. We keep it here.
FBRA has done an excellent job in 7 years. If you look at what FBRA has been able to achieve, not just for the different waste stream, not just for used beverage carton, but for all the waste stream as well. They have done an amazing job. FBRA is now a force to reckon with when it comes to sustainability effort in the country. You speak to any key stakeholder, be it in the government or private sector, and they always make reference to FBRA. And I think this goes to show the excellent job that FBRA has done in the last 7 years. And I must say a big thank you to the management and board of FBRA for an excellent job so far.
Congratulations, FBRA. You are doing very well. Thank you for the initiative. Thank you for taking responsibility. Thank you for coming to Nigeria specifically, and thank you for supporting businesses, because as a result, I'm a beneficiary, because if this business is not here, maybe I won't be here also. I don't know where I would have been doing. It would have been so bad, but at least what they are doing is really helping lives. A lot of life is dependent on it, and it's a good one. They should continue, and I pray that God will continue to strengthen them to do what they are doing. And then they should create more awareness. They should continue to advocate for the small businesses, for a better policy.
I think FBRA has a big challenge. I mean, they've done a lot in the last 7 years, and specifically in the last, I would say, 2-3 years, in terms of awareness, in terms of scaling up, in terms of number of members. The challenge they have is that how can they outdo themselves in the next 7 years in terms of new members? Because for me, the more members are in FBRA, the more interaction, the more communication we can have. So that's quite interesting. And the second challenge is that, first, how can they live up to this extended responsibility? Because this is being pushed heavily by the federal government. Extended responsibility is here to stay, it's not gonna go away. And the last point is that how can they promote the usage of recycled material within FBRA members? That's very important, right? So then they will have to cover the whole edges of the triangle: collection, recycling, and reuse. All right. I really thank the team in FBRA. I would say I have good friends in FBRA, and whether with Areze, whether with the current chairman, the previous chairman, the current board members, I would say they're all good members. They're all committed to the recycling. So now, how to get more and more people like that? It'll be very interesting.
Happy birthday, FBRA. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep looking back. Keep revising and changing and regrouping. We're behind you 100%. Thank you very much for all of the support. We're so happy to be part of FBRA. 7UP Bottling Company is a committed, dedicated member of FBRA. We're in this with you for the long haul. Happy birthday.
I celebrate FBRA as 7. I mean, look how far we've come in 7 years. From 4 to 47, from 0 to over 100,000. We've come a long way, and we still have some ways to go. And we look forward to the greater good and to really achieving our dreams of having a truly circular economy enabled by FBRA, doing the collection, the transformation, the support to the businesses that are within the ecosystem in a sustainable manner.
To FBRA 7, first and foremost, I would like to say kudos to FBRA, the executive director of FBRA, who has worked tirelessly to position FBRA to where it is, and of course the entire team working at FBRA. FBRA has done very well. FBRA has opened up the ecosystem in Nigeria. FBRA has been instrumental to attracting investments in Nigeria, directly or indirectly. So I'm saying to FBRA, looking to the next 7 years, I want to see more progress. I want to see us competing with countries that have gone ahead. There are countries in Europe, in Mexico, even South Africa here. They've done very well in recycling. And I want to see in the next 7 years Nigeria beating those countries because of the activities of FBRA. So well done to FBRA. And I will also encourage all the member organizations of FBRA to continue to give support to that organization. FBRA is as good as all the member companies that make up FBRA. It is what will make FBRA that it becomes. So our support will really move FBRA forward. And of course, asking all the companies to join hands together. It's always better to go together. So well done to FBRA. Congratulations on your 7th anniversary.